So, hey everybody, and welcome along to the Friday night stream with RB. So, a couple of quick things that we are going to cover tonight, and I have a list a mile long of questions that people have asked me. So what we are going to do first is post up the link. So if you do want to obviously jump in on the studio, then we are going to post the link up onto the StreamYard and that will come across to the YouTube. If you do want to join in on this, you're very welcome to do so. So that is going to come up in the live stream for you. All you need to do, jump on the channel. Yeah, Ethan, good to see you there. We're going to start covering some of these questions because I've got about 40 questions that I need to cover. The first one that we've got up tonight, and I'm going to get into this very, very quickly because I've got streams and streams of questions that people have sent me for the last couple of weeks. I haven't done a live stream for about 4 weeks now, just due to the simple fact that we haven't managed to obviously get out and get on a live stream. It's just a simple fact we've been doing so many bikes, so many rides out. I've changed bikes as well, so we'll get onto that. E10 Fuel, is it going to destroy your bike? There is a very, very easy way to find out, and that is to get onto Google, type in E10 Fuel, and it will give you a list of bikes. Now, normally bikes after about 1999, 2000 are okay for E10 Fuel. People have said, are the Chinese bikes all right on E10 Fuel? Perfectly okay. If you have got an older bike, then yes, E10 Fuel will be detrimental. It will rot your carb seals. It will rot anything that's rubber. It has been known to destroy tanks. And the worst thing about E10 Fuel is it attracts moisture, it attracts water, and you are going to get residual water in the tank unless you're filling your tank up all the time. Then make sure that you do, obviously. Evening, Hayden. Good to see you. So if you've got E10 Fuel, then obviously check your bike out before you go and fill it up. But there is a big Gov website. Go on to just type in Google E10 Fuel, check my bike, and loads of links will come up. You'll be able to put the reg or the make and model of your bike, and it will tell you if your bike is okay for E10 Fuel. So that is that one. The second question is, lots of people have been saying, where is the green ZX7R? The green ZX7R, unfortunately, is up for sale. If you haven't rolled back on my YouTube videos and watched those, there is a nice little crash around about 17th of April. I got offed from behind by someone, nice person on a bike, and took me out. And since then, I have got compressed vertebrae, so my C1 and my C2, which are the two bottom lower spinal ones above the coccyx, have been compressed. I can't get over a sports bike anymore at the moment. I've got about 8 months of physio to go through. So hence, I have bought myself a Kawasaki GTR from Eclipse Motorcycles. And if you watch a couple of the videos, then you can obviously go and see it. We had a really nice run out last Sunday just gone, and we took up the Decorum Motorcycle Riders from Hemel Hempstead. That was led by Steph and Shelley, joined by loads of guys. And we were also joined by Hayden, who's in the room as well. So Hayden and his partner Ali, that's got a little Iska, that's bought from Eclipse Motorcycle. She came along for the ride, thoroughly enjoyed it, and it was good to see you guys there. Absolute blast. We had a load of fun. So that was really good. If you want to join in on the live stream, the link is in the top. All you need to do, you need a web camera and a mic on your laptop. Just jump in, click that StreamYard link. That will pop up into my box. And then you can come along and join us. Now, the other question that we had, and I had so many this week, people just asking me stuff, and I said to them, "Yeah, I can answer as many questions as you like. You know, obviously, what are you into?" And someone said, obviously, the new Michigan is out, the Euro 5 Michigan. There's a lot of guys out there riding cruisers. What is your preferential choice? Is it a sports bike? Is it a cruiser? Given all bikes, I love all bikes. Personal choice, I would love my sports bikes. I'm into a touring bike now, but I do like the feel of the cruisers. I never was a bit of a cruiser lover, really, with the feet forward. It was an unusual riding style. But I am getting into these cruisers. And as a couple of the big bikers said to me, you're being tempted to the dark side. Well, I have, but only semi tempted to the dark side, hence why I got the GTR. Loads of other questions. I'm just going to go through, reel off as many of these as I can in like 30 minutes or so, and then we'll get some people in the room. As I say, if you want to jump on the room, thank you for being a bronze member, Hayden. You're very, very welcome. Remind me to, next time you're down, give you some badges. So the StreamYard link is there. Evening, Shelley. Good to see you. StreamYard link is up there again. All you've got to do, click the StreamYard link. You can come and join me in the room and have a chat about bikes. Now, the other thing that we did ask at the beginning of the video, and Shelley's in the room, so she could probably answer this question. At the beginning of your video, you show a girl that's got horns on the top of her helmet. Where do you get the horns for the top of the helmet, or where do you get the Mohicans that the bikers wear on their crash helmets? I have absolutely no idea. But obviously, Shelley's in the room, and she'll probably mention up the comment of where she got them. So there is a side chat available in the YouTube. If you wanted to obviously chuck it up there, then all you got to do is pop up into the YouTube and drop it up over. I think it's up on this side somewhere, up on my left hand side. Just drop it up on there. Just put the link in there, or where you find them in the room. I have absolutely no idea where these biker horns and these biker Mohicans all come. My helmet is quite standard, bog standard crash helmet. The only thing I have got is obviously my Iridium screen. Moving on to question number 6. What cameras did you use on that ride? And believe it or not, I have a drift camera. I've always used drift. I'm not a GoPro lover. Very, very overrated. Yes, they are a damn good camera, but they are very, very overrated for the money. There we go. And Shelley, the horns are from eBay and they light up. So if you want to obviously ask Shelley a question, you can find them on Facebook, Decorum Motorcycle Riders, and ask in the group and go along. Them guys are all based in Hemel Hempstead, so you can have an absolute blast with those guys down there. So the 2 cameras that I use, and I've got about 6 of these, I've destroyed 4. Most of them have come off mid-ride, but am I bothered? Not really. The ones that I use are sat just behind me, and that is these. These are called action cameras, and you might recognize them from eBay. These are about £12 each. They're Wi-Fi linked, so you can add them up on the Wi-Fi, but they're about £12, and you can get yourself loads and loads of those. If it drops, who gives a rat's? I have dropped so many of these off of motorcycles, but the gold one was the one that was on the back of the ZZR, and the white one was the one that was on the back of the Phaser when we did the run out to the Super Sausage. And we've got a couple of guests in the room, so I'm going to bring them on the stream. Now, obviously, these guys, Hayden rides I think it's a Diversion 600. Ali rides an Iska, and here they are. Welcome to the chat, guys. Evening, good to see you. The link's up there. If you want to jump in, then feel free to jump in. So, Hayden and Ali, the room is yours. Tell us a little bit about yourselves. Tell us about your bikes, and obviously what you do.
Good first.
Oh, okay. Yeah, from the accent you can hear I'm South African. I've been in the UK for a long time. I ride a Yamaha F Diversion, as you said, which ultimately will be Alison's bike. She's still learning, so I've picked up that one. And when she moves up to the 600, I'll get
talking to you.
I'll get something decent. And you?
I've only been riding for I don't know,
2 months,
2 months, 3 months, and I've been putting it off for about 30 years. So it was about time I put my best foot forward and looked at all the bikes out there and decided the Iska was definitely for me, and I absolutely love it. She is just a dream. I was bombing along at 60 today thinking this is just, I love it, absolutely love it. So I've had a little go on the 600. Yeah, I really like the 600. I think I'll be on the 600 next year. So yeah, that's me. I wish I'd done this long time ago, and I've met the best people. So it's dream come true.
Exactly. I don't think there's going to be much of a chance to ride this Sunday because we've got torrential rain.
No.
And
we had plans that have been scuppered.
Yeah.
Exactly. A couple more questions. So I'm gonna roll through 8. I've got about 30 on here at the moment. So questions 8, 9, and 10. Who do you follow? What I tend to do every quarter or every couple of months is put up a link, and it's normally, if you go into my YouTube, and it's normally found on the I think it's about me or in the posts. Have a look in there. The last video lists about 10 of the top bikers. Now, there is a couple that obviously I watch from the States, One of them is called Bikes, Beards and Brews. The guy is called Ben. And a lot of people have commented he is very, very OTT. He does what they call, the Americans called roasting. He likes to roast about bikes, and he likes to roast about helmets, and have a dig at everybody. But it is all, as he says in the beginning of his video, it's all tongue in cheek. He's just launched his new one about, I think it's about low alcohol beer. And he's going on about that. So that's a very, very good one to watch. The other one that we do tend to obviously follow, Scottish biker, and he's called Burning Gas Hauling Ass, and he's normally hanging out with his wife, Sarah. So they both ride Harleys. He's very, very good on YouTube. So that is another one to follow. And then obviously the man himself, Jim Diesel, that tends to hang around at Super Sausage with me. He's obviously changed jobs. He's come out of the RAF, changed jobs, and Jim is back today with a Finally Friday. So if you look for Jim Diesel, go and check out that channel. Very, very good channel. And then, of course, the couple of the others that I follow is Salty and Sprinkles. They ride Indian Challengers out of Texas. Sets of pendants, and the final one, I've got to give him a mention because he is an absolute character. Big Smitty riding. Go and check out Big Smitty riding. He's out in obviously America as well, and rides a dirty great big Honda, and they have had a dig at him today, because he obviously went out for a pack ride. All the Harleys revving their bikes, and his sounds like a washing machine going into overdrive. So not the thing to be doing, riding around on a Honda Goldwing when you're surrounded by Harleys. Next question up that obviously I've got here is, why have bike prices increased? We had a phone call today in the office, and I'm still taking them on obviously the Eclipse Motorcycles Facebook tonight. That's why I've muted my phone. And people were saying, why can't I get a 50cc now for £1,000? You will not get a decent 125 or a 50 for under £2,000. Simple reason being is that shipping containers from Shanghai to the UK is normally about £2,000 per container. Now, with Lexmoto, you can normally fit about 20 bikes into a container. So £2,000 is quite a good margin to make on a bike. Obviously, if it's £20,000, then that extra £18,000 has to be split over 20 bikes. So that huge margin, hence why all bikes have increased by about £400 to £500. Now, obviously, with Kawasaki's, Hondas, Suzuki's, Yamahas, you're looking to get between 8 and 10 of those big bikes in a container. And I know for a fact that the H2 comes with so many parts, you can normally get 10 of those per container. And obviously the H2 now, they're holding back on putting the H2 out because there is going to be a £2,000 price hike on it. The Vulcan has gone up by about £1,000. All the ZX range has all gone up by about £800-900. And the Yamaha range is completely out the window. So people are not buying motorcycles at the moment for the money. Everyone is going used. And if you happen to be buying a used 125, and I'm sure Ali and Hayden will agree on this one, if you are buying a used 125, check the history, because you are going to be buying someone else's problem. It's most 17-year-olds are going to own a 125. They are going to rag the pants off it straight out the box. It's not going to be running. It's not going to be maintained. It's not going to be looked after. All they want to do is get from A to B in the quickest possible time and go out the weekends with their mates and see who is the fastest in the area. So I would avoid second-hand 125s unless it's got a perfect service history. It's an older rider that's got it. And then obviously check the history, check the MOT, check the service data on it. But most 125s you will find in used condition. Most kids have got no basic maintenance skills at all. The easiest way to learn your maintenance, there are hundreds of YouTube videos. Chain maintenance, chain tightening, tire pressures is a big must. And obviously keeping your bike maintained, changing your oil, changing your plugs, adjusting your valve gaps. That is a big thing to do on your maintenance side. If you do get stuck, go to a bike dealer. They will always help you and say, you need to do this, and this. But 17-year-old doing their own maintenance, steer clear. So that's another one to obviously get you out of. And then the final one, what have you been up to this week? I'll go through a little bit of a story today. Phil at the garage obviously almost called an ambulance today for me. I'd been out on a ride, 2 jackets on. Got back, stood in the office, went to have a drink of my Lucozade, and it was so ice cold that I ended up with a stomach cramp. Um, Went completely grey, blue mouth, and it was just the fact that I'd cooked myself in 2 jackets. So if you are out on a bike, guys, I always say all the gear all the time, but don't go standing around in your jackets in the extreme heat because you'll cook yourself. So that was my little bit of fun for today. But I have got the GTR now. If you haven't seen the video, and obviously the super sausage run we did on Sunday has gone absolutely stupid. Shelley was in there with the guys in the room, and having such a good time. And then obviously we were joined by very, very good guys, Simon Maxwell, and he had his obviously GTR, so the pair of us were tail gunning. So I'm just going to say a quick hi to all the guys here. Obviously Moto Dell's here. Hiya Del, good to see you. Zedd, my man from Scotland. Now, Zedd, he's going to probably try and pop in later. Hopefully, I haven't seen Zedd in ages. Another good one to watch. Zedd Motorvlogs out of Scotland. Rides a ZZR 1400, and that thing is absolutely brilliant. He's part of a team called the Basic Bikers. And you've got, I think, Lockwood's in there, loads of really good Scottish bikers. So once you've found one, you will find the others that are all tagged, and they're on Facebook as well. You can find Zedd on Facebook. Very, very good guy, absolutely brilliant. So we had a bit of a blast with them. 2 of these questions I am not reading out. Little bit near the knuckle on that. No. What do you think of women riders? Women riders probably ride better than most of us men, actually. Us guys tend to be hooning around, not giving a complete rat's ass for anybody, unless you're obviously an experienced biker with 20 or 30 years under your belt. The girls tend to take it a lot easier. They're doing more shoulder checks. They're being aware a lot more. Yes, women riders are very, very good. And if you haven't seen, obviously, Shelley riding a little Lexmoto ZSXF, she is probably one of the best riders that I've been out with, constantly aware of what's going on over her shoulders and in front of her. And obviously, Steph's a very, very good rider as well. But women riders, do I rate them? Yes, I would put them up on a par. I would put a woman rider actually above the stuff that I do. Obviously, I ride a lot of bikes for a living. I do sort of 5 or 6 bikes a day. But when you actually see some of the women riders, then yes, women riders are very, very good. So don't knock it. If you are a woman rider, good on you. Welcome to, welcome to the biking community. But women riders, that is what we need out there. More women riders, because it tends to be a very male orientated thing that you do at the weekends. Most guys will go out on their bikes, leave the wife at home, unless she, of course, likes her bikes. But the girls, they don't, oh, I don't care if I take anyone with me. I just want to get out on my bike and do my thing. So, yeah, women riders. Going down this list, I've got so many here. What bike equipment do you suggest for a beginner on a 125? Your basic stuff should be at least a pair of Kevlar jeans. If you can't afford to get yourself leathers or decent textiles, a basic pair of Kevlar jeans. A decent pair of boots. It doesn't matter if you've got motorcycle boots. A good pair of Doc Martens, high ankle Doc Martens will do the job as long as you've got your ankles protected. Just remember, if a bike goes down, your leg, if it gets trapped under the bike, the first thing that's going to be scraping down the road is the side of your shin and your ankle. So that basic pair of boots. Gloves as well. Don't go buying these stupid, and I've seen 3 or 4 riders that have come in with them this week. And they are wearing motocross gloves. Motocross gloves will not offer you any abrasion protection if your hands hit the road. You want a decent pair of motorcycle gloves, leather, Kevlar protection across the knuckles, and you need at least double stitched leather on the inside, because this is the part of your hand that is going to hit the road first if you put your hands out, and it is human instinct when you fall to put your hands in front of you. So a decent pair of gloves. A full face helmet, definitely. I would not touch an open face helmet. I would always make sure that it's either an ECE approved helmet or an ACU approved helmet, and it's got, at least got a sharp rating on it. And that leads me on to my next question. Would you buy a helmet from a local bike dealers that service cars and sell car parts? And the big H is what we're on about. Would you go to that store and buy a helmet? The only 2 things that I would use them for would be a plant pot and a piss pot. They are the only two things that I would use that helmet for. You want to be spending at least 60 to 70 quid on a decent helmet. And the man is in the room, so I'm just going to introduce him in. And here he is walking around. Evening, Stu. He's there somewhere. So this is Zedd. He's out having a wander. He's having a listen. Are you there? No, he's disappeared again. I think he's out on his mobile phone, so we'll catch up with him in a while. And obviously, people saying to me, you know, what do you think about obviously other protection, textile jackets? Yes, textile jacket, leather jacket, it's your choice. We have seen a lot of people obviously out. It's summer. Yes, everybody wants to enjoy being out on a bike. T-shirt, jogging bottoms, and a pair of trainers. A big no-no. Absolutely big no-no. It doesn't matter if it's a 50cc 125. If you're doing 30 mile an hour and you come off, you are going to end up with some big skin abrasions there. So yeah, definitely branded known helmet. So I tend to run LS2s. A lot of people use Shoeies. A lot of people use Arai's. They're the well-known brands. GSB Stealth, your budget brands. A decent jacket, but for God's sake, don't go out in this weather in a t-shirt and a pair of jogging bottoms, because you've got no abrasion protection whatsoever. And we actually had a guy came in for an MOT on Wednesday, and he was an undertaker. He goes out to about 5 or 6 accidents every month, and it's mostly 17 to 21-year-olds. And he said the last one he picked up came off his bike in a t-shirt and jogging bottoms at 70 mile an hour and slid down the road. He did pass away, and the poor lad, they said by the time that he'd obviously slid down the road and taken all his skin off, it actually cooked his flesh. He said when he actually went to recover the body, it was steaming in the road. So hopefully that will put you off riding in a t-shirt and jogging bottoms. So don't do it, guys. You know, you've got one life, you've got one brain. Protect it with the best you can afford. If you can't afford it, then at least buy something budget that is an approved helmet with a sharp rating is a must on a crash helmet. So make sure there's a very easy thing to do. Go on the Sharp website, type in Sharp ratings. It will give you a list of all the crash helmets in there that you can get you can get some decent protection off, but avoid these £20 helmets that you get in the local store. Also, there's a big thing going on with Shoei and Arai on eBay at the moment with Chinese copies. They've done a very long video on this on YouTube. Imported goods, fake copies. And if you type in Shoei Arai copy, I wouldn't touch any eBay bike gear. You're better off going to an approved dealer, because at least you've got some comeback. Should anything go wrong on that, you can come back to dealer and go, my helmet's done this, blah, blah, blah. I wouldn't touch anything off of eBay apart from these cheap cameras. You know, break them and replace them. But anything protection-wise, steer clear of eBay unless that eBay site is a registered bike dealer. There's a lot of guys that, you know, obviously these big bike shops that do use eBay. Shoei are on there, Arai are on there, LS2 are on eBay as well. Make sure it's an approved store, not one of these Chinese import stores that you will find. So as Shelley says, all the gear, all the time. Let Ali and Hayden speak. Yeah, go on. The floor is yours for a minute, guys. Ali and Hayden, your opinions.
Well, I mean, we bought, we did, you know, what you do when you decide you're going to go out on a bike, and we've bought the bike and now we're going to buy all the kit. And there is a massive amount of stuff out there. And then you just think that the temptation is always to go really cheap, but we decided to go sort of mid-range, didn't we?
Yeah.
We looked at leathers and that kind of thing. And personally, leathers do not look good on me. But yeah, definitely the Kevlar jeans, proper riding boots. We both paid about, I don't know, about £100, I think, for our helmets. And, you know, we just went to, I think it was JNS we went to, we bought gloves and that kind of thing. And really, you can't, it's worth paying a decent amount of money because it's a one-off payment. It's an investment. Okay, your helmets have to be replaced, you know, a couple of years down the line, but you know, how can you put a price on you know, your safety? I mean, what, like you said about that young guy, how horrific. And you're right, I've seen it so much this week. Guys just riding around in shorts and t-shirt and just a pair of trainers on, and you just think, why would you do that? If it was my kid, I'd box his ears and saying, you're not going out looking like that. Well, I know you did in South Africa.
By the same token, when I grew up, we used to ride shorts, t-shirts, and flip-flops on the bike, and that's just the way it was. Africa, and we had a good time.
Don't do it anymore.
But you grow up.
You do, yeah.
Not the best thing.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna work through one final question here. Obviously, if you had between £1,000 and £5,000, what bike would you buy? The most reliable one. I'd shop around. You know, there is no bike that is on the market at the moment that, you know, obviously I've just paid 4K for mine. But if I had £5,000, would I have got a different bike? No, I spent quite a lot of time trying to find the right bike, because I kept obviously, I think, hey, I said to Hayden about 4 times, I've got a ZZR, I'm getting a ZZR, I've got this green ZZR, and obviously because my injury, I decided to buy the GTR. But it's horses for courses, you know. Everybody has their own opinions of a bike. I hate BMWs, the GS Tourer. I think it's an ugly looking bike, but it is the most well-known touring bike and the most reliable touring bike, but it just does not appeal to my eye. It's like saying, you know, some people like Samantha Fox, and some people like sort of, I don't know, Miranda or whatever her name is. So everybody has different opinions of what they like. So everybody has their own opinion. So that is my answer on that one. He's back again with his beer. Let's try and get Zedd on. Here he is. Evening, Stu.
All right.
Yeah, good. Your last video with Lockwood and the boys, that was really good.
Yeah. That was when I dropped my camera.
Oh, I saw that bit. I think one of the boys picked it up, didn't they?
Yeah, definitely did. What I will say, just what you've been saying, dress for the ride, not the slide, not the ride.
Exactly.
100%. Doesn't matter. I mean, we're getting 29 degree weather here, but I've still got my leathers on, so. But it is thirsty work, so I've just got a wee can of beer.
I've got pure orange at the moment, so I've got what's left over from McDonald's that she left me.
I've just got a wee can of 1 litre facts there.
Jesus. So how's life been treating you, Stu? Because I ain't seen you about for a while.
I've been all right, mate.
Good. And I noticed Jim Diesel was back tonight.
Yeah, I had a wee finally Friday, so that was cool.
Yeah, so all good up there. And obviously, any news from Burning Gas Hauling Us? Have you caught up with any of his stuff?
Yeah, I've been watching. He's been out and about. I've seen him. Yeah, he's been at Harley Davidson a few times. He's been in and around his area, but I've not personally caught up with him. That hasn't happened yet, but he's putting out some good content just now, actually.
Excellent. Right, so guys, there is a few spaces available in the room, so if you want to jump on the StreamYard link, just posted it up to the YouTube. Come and join the boys. And obviously, if you want to talk big bikes, then obviously the man Zedd is the man to talk about. So yeah, I didn't go for the ZZR in the end, Stu. I ended up with the GTR, obviously due to my back. So yeah, I was gutted I couldn't get that green Zedd, but GTR's just as good. It's got the Zedd engine in it. And I did manage to open it up a little bit last Sunday as well. So I'm not going to.
You're just at that pensionable age. That's what it is.
That's what it is. Yeah. That's oldies.
It's all good, mate. It's all good. Listen, it's a great bike, and the platform that you've bought, can't knock it. I really can't. And I understand why you've chosen it. I really do.
Yeah, it was a tough decision, but you know, I had to sort of think about what I was going to be doing in sort of 5 years' time down the road. So obviously the GTR is more my style.
One of the questions that I did have to ask you was, what about the boy that had the ZZR? Did you sort him out? Did you get him a seller or a buyer? Or?
The guy that I was going to buy it off of happened to be a 65-year-old pensioner that had that ZZR.
Yeah.
He wanted it to go to a home where he knew it was going to be loved and looked after, and he's had about 20 people chasing him. And when I actually phoned him, I said, "Look, you know," he said, "I've already watched your video. I didn't think you'd want the Zedd after that." And I'm like, "Yeah," I said, "I've come up and obviously had a look at it." I said, "But went to get over my ZX, and I ended up with like." I think I got about halfway into the super sausage ride. If you listen to the video, you can hear me going, "Oof,
Right.
because my back was caning, and I rode home at 30 mile an hour. I've never ridden that bike home at 30 mile an hour."
Yeah.
And he said to me, "Yeah," he said, "it's quite all right." He said, "I've got 8 more people lined up." And he actually sold it to another biker that was 62 that wanted something for a little bit bigger, because he had a Motor Guzzi. And he said, "You know, my Motor Guzzi is a little bit high in the leg for me. I want something a little bit lower, a little bit more sports power." So he sold it, I think, last week.
There's a bike out there for everyone.
Exactly.
That's it.
Quick question from obviously Simon, and he said to me, "Is the GTR as heavy as it looks?" Yes, it is. The standard, I think your Zedd's about 290 kilos, Stu, 270, 290.
Mine's just got a wee bit of carbon fibre on it, mate, so it's a wee bit lighter than that.
Yeah, we actually got the spec on the GTR, and it's 320 kilograms.
It's a wee bit weighty, but you've got to understand that sorts itself out when it comes to motorway riding.
Oh God, yeah.
So
We actually did the run a couple of weeks ago. Now, normally on the Zedd, I air down that dual carriageway all the way down to Super Sausage, and I normally sit at sort of 70, 80 mile an hour, head behind the bubble, totally oblivious, apart from what's in front of me and what's behind. And I actually took the GTR out when we did the Super Sausage run with Ali and Hayden. And I actually mentioned what I got. I thought, Jesus Christ, they built houses at Stacey Bush's. I'd never noticed that they built houses on the side of the dual carriageway, and I've been going up and down that road for about a year.
that's because you've been tucked under the bubble.
Yeah, yeah. And I actually had a chance. I sat at 65 all the way, just enjoying the ride.
Mate, that's what a lot of people don't even understand about the ZZR. I mean, the ZZR is more than capable of superbike speeds, but when you are at ridiculous speeds, you're sitting in comfort.
Yeah.
The bike's not trying to throw you off the back it because the wind's hitting you in the chest. It's like you're in a big bubble of quiet. It's
exactly, because the one thing that I did notice, because obviously I was sat and I said to the guy, I said to Simon Maxwell that was down, I said, "God," I said, "I've sat 3,500 revs doing 70 mile an hour." He said, "Yeah," he said, "the red line on it's like 12 and a half, 14.
Yeah.
And he said, "Have you hit 4,000 RPM?" I said, "I've not even got to 4,000 RPM. He said, "Get through your gearbox." I said, "But that was the other issue." I said, "Because it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I get 2 little circles." He went, "No, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 overdrive."
Right.
He said it's OD. It's the 6th gear is classed as overdrive.
Yeah.
But I got it up to 3rd, and I thought, "Oh, I wonder what it does." I hit 4,000 RPM. I pooped myself. I nearly said some shit my pants in. Yeah, pooped myself. It comes alive at 4,000 RPM. You get to 6 and all hell breaks loose.
Yeah.
And okay, change gear now. But yeah, and then I looked down. I was like, okay, time to slow down. It does go, and it's split-second acceleration on that as well.
It's crazy. It's like you really have to be aware of your surroundings when you're opening the throttle. So you could lose your license in like 2 minutes.
Exactly, yeah. So I tend to sort of clock until I get used to sort of how it handles. I'm getting used to cornering it now, because the first ride or so I was so bolt upright going around corners at 20 mile an hour because of the weight. But once you get used to handling it, it's as light as a feather.
The weight disappears, and that's the thing. That's the thing about these bikes. And like I've had so many sports bikes riders say to me, "Oh, but how does it go around a corner?" And the first thing I'll say is, take the keys, try it, because you'll be surprised. Because like when they're leaning over and they're thinking they're Valentino Rossi, I'm sitting right behind them.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
You know, it's like they can do it. The timing may be slightly different, because when you're coming into a corner with these bikes, the weight is different, so it transitions different. It transitions into the corner slightly different, but it gets out the corner exactly the same way. It depends how you put it in, how you present the bike to the corner, and that's the difference between a bigger bike and a sports bike. And if you can understand that, then the sports bike's never going to be any better.
And then the final question, someone actually said, I think they've commented on the YouTube video of it as well, the Run to Super Sausage, great pack formation, but how do you learn to ride in a pack? You can't. You have to go and ride a pack to learn how to ride a pack. And I think I mentioned about 5 or 6 times about the staggered formation.
100%.
The diamond formation, yeah.
The best information you could give to any new rider is stagger your positions, and as Rev Bomb will tell you, that if you stagger your positions, that allows you the space to slow down. If somebody in front decelerates, you're not riding into somebody.
Exactly. That's what we were trying to. But I think we had about 8 or 9 learners that had never ever ridden. I think Ali was never done a pack ride either. But obviously Hayden's a very experienced biker. And to actually, when we came down the hill coming into Stony Stratford just before the roundabout, when I got that long shot, the sight of all those riders, all those little L plates, all in staggered formation, because Simon looked across at me and nodded. I'm like, yeah, doesn't this look good? And the thing is, they loved it as well.
Ali, how did you find it then? Did you find it okay? Were you intimidated, or was it quite relaxed?
I was anxious because I've never ever, I've only ever ridden with Hayden. So I was a bit anxious, but I think, with the whole staggered thing, it does kind of make common sense anyway, because if you're right at the tail end of the bike in front of you, there's only one way you're going to go, and that's up his backside and up the back. So it did make sense. And also, you felt safer. I felt safer knowing that I had somebody who knew what they were doing behind me, and I was following somebody who I could say, okay, well, I'm just going to follow them. So it was fine. And actually, after about 5 minutes, I was really, really comfortable. I didn't feel as if I was holding anybody back. I didn't feel like anybody was pressuring me to go any faster than I was comfortable doing.
Even on the 125, yeah.
Even on a little 125. And I absolutely found my place. I loved it. Absolutely loved it.
That's fantastic. And that sounds like you've been involved in a really controlled and a really thought out ride. So, because there are some rides that you can go on that you feel as if you have to push on a wee bit.
Exactly. I'm a member of quite a few Facebook groups, and so many people have said, well, I went on a group ride today and I'll never go again, because they were left behind. They didn't know where they were going. There was no communication. And I just think, well, what a terrible way to start your riding experience, by being intimidated, because then you'll just never want to ride again.
I mean, Rev Bomb knows, like, I ride up in Scotland, and we ride with the basic bikers, and we ride group rides, and we do 125 friendly. And it's quite common that we make it clear that it is a 125 friendly ride, so nobody gets left. There will always be an experienced rider behind you, making sure that you're safe. There will always be experienced riders in front of you, making sure that you're sitting within a safe environment when you're travelling down the road.
Exactly.
Because sometimes it's not about how quickly you get somewhere, it's just the fact that you get there safely.
Yeah.
But surely the whole point is to enjoy the ride, ultimately.
Yeah, 100%.
You see, the whole idea, because obviously when we left Eclipse, and I appointed obviously Steph and Shelley as the pack lead, because obviously Shelley tends to be sort of the proactive member of the decorum. She's always out there pushing it. So I said to the guys, if you take pack lead, and obviously Phil from the garage, he's been riding 40 years. He brought his friend down on his Aprilia. They took centre pack. So obviously 2 more experienced riders, and he said to me, "Where are you going?" I said, "I always do tail end Charlie. I've got the biggest bike of the pack, the widest bike of the pack." Simon was there with his GTR, and obviously Simon did the flyby up to the front to get everybody in, check they were all right. And then he managed to pull over. I think he was doing about 45 miles an hour just to let all the bikers go past him. And then he joined me at the back of the pack, and the pair of us were in a perfect staggered formation, keeping the cars to the back, obviously playing tail end Charlie on it. But there was one, we obviously had, I think it was an Audi A3, the black, Hayden will probably remember it, the black Audi A3 that came.
There's always an Audi.
Yeah. But obviously we were all in the first lane of the dual carriageway. He come down the second lane and then decided he wanted to turn through the pack to come off at the next junction. And
we saw him. Yeah, we saw him.
And the first we heard of it, because there was a couple of 600s in the pack all rev bombing him, and he pulled back, and obviously Simon was like, "Get back." And he ended up tucking in behind us, but then obviously me and Simon were both sat with our hazard lights on, and I was basically, just stay back, get yourself back, we're all doing 65, 70, nice steady speed. What's the point in trying to come down the outside lane to try and make the junction and realize you're not going to get to the junction because you've got 1/4 mile of bike pack there?
But you can see the pack of bikes in front of you, so what's the point?
Yeah. So obviously he decided to barrel to the back and got a few choice words off of us tail end Charlies. But
it was a great group of people. So I mean, from my point of view, thanks for the ride. It was fantastic.
Yeah, it was good. We'll do it again. So
and Shelley, great to meet you as well. It was fantastic.
Yeah, we had. It was
what I think as well is like Ali being a new rider is like now that you know that you've been out with this group, you have confidence to go out with them again, and that's a massive thing, because you can predict how the ride's going to be. The ride's not going to be any different, so you know what the safety aspects are. You know that they're going to look after you. You know that you're going to enjoy the experience. So there's not any added pressure to do anything that's out with your sort of capabilities, and that's a massive thing. That's a massive thing.
Because the confidence can be bumped so hard, because like I was saying to Hayden, I'm so scared I'm going to make a mistake. I'm so scared I'm going to do something stupid. And he said, you won't. Just do what you've been learning, what you've been riding, what we've learned together, and just follow everybody else and you'll be fine. And he was right.
And like I've been out in rides, even this, like I've ridden since 2009, and I remember when I just passed my test, I made the point of observing who looked like the most consistent and stable rider, and I would make the point of introducing myself and speaking to them and asking them, is there any chance I can follow you? And you would follow the lines, and you would follow, and you would ask them why they're doing it and what they're doing, what they're seeing, and ask them to you're asking like an artist to paint a picture. That's the only way I could put it. So by the time you'd stopped at the next stop and you said, well, you took that line a wee bit wide, can you tell me why you did that? And they'll maybe turn around and say, well, I know that there's a drain cover in the middle of the road, so you have to take it slightly wider, and so on and so forth. So you learn so much from these people, and they're not necessarily riding very, very fast, but they're riding smooth and they're riding consistent.
And intelligently,
Consistent rider. I'll always be a fast rider.
That's true.
Yeah, isn't it?
My final question then, and I can throw this piece of paper away here. That's that one done. That's my last question. People do a CBT, and the question's been raised. I can go and do a CBT, never ridden a bike before. I get a morning's training, how to ride a bike. I go out in the afternoon, I play with traffic, and then I'm allowed to ride on the road after 1 day's experience on a bike. Do you think this is the safest thing to do? Back when and I'm going back years and years now, when I were a lad, I started on a 250. got to 17, 250, took my test 3 weeks after my birthday and stepped straight to a 900cc ZX9. Within 3 months, I bought a Kawasaki Z1300, and I must have been the only 17-year-old airing around Milton Keynes on a Z1300. And believe me, I got stopped a lot by the police to check my license. But now you can go and do a 125. You get a day's experience, you're let to play with traffic. And then obviously you can do your mod 1, your mod 2, which allows you to step up to a certain amount of CCs, up to, I think it's 24, but then they let you to go to big unlimited CC. Is this a good answer? Yes. There was a lot of lads when my age that were going out. There was 9 of us in the motocross team. There's 2 of us left now. Most of them went and killed themselves in the first 5 years of bike riding because too fast. A lot of them lost it on corners. A lot of them went under lorries. So yes, CBTs are a good thing, but I would always say have a chat with your CBT instructor and do some extra training. Even if it's, you know, say to them, can I come out? Can I do a couple of hours extra with you? I don't feel confident on the road. I've passed my CBT, but I'd like some extra training. It's going to cost you a couple of £100 to go out and do a couple of hours riding with a seat. And the same thing again, he's going to say, take this line, take that line. You're going a bit fast into the corner. I do an enhanced rider scheme twice a year, just for the simple fact that I ride 5 to 10 bikes a day. And the first thing my CBT instructor says to me every time, and the last time I remember not to do it, but every time I go into a roundabout or a corner, is get off your bloody front brake. You're not on a racetrack. Stop trail braking. And it is one of my biggest habits, trail braking, or using the back end to steer me through corners, using the brake to push myself through corners, or I'm chucking on too much counter steer. And a lot of people say, what is counter steer? What is trail braking? Don't even go there as a new rider. You shouldn't be doing it. You should be learning how to ride properly. Leave the counter steering, the trail braking for the riders that have got the experience. Your opinion, Stu?
No, I totally agree. It's like I did a direct access course. I must admit, I did my mod 1. Then I did my mod 2, and then I did a direct access, which allowed me to ride 600 straight away. So when I passed my test, I must have had 30 hours riding experience, and that's bearing in mind that's a 600cc that I'm licensed to ride. The first thing that I did was a bike safe course with the police. Where I went in front of a police bike assessor, and they watched the way I rode. They watched the lines I took. They stopped, corrected, so on and so forth. And I would say to anybody, if there's a police bike safe course in your region and they're offering it, take it. The information that they give you is invaluable. It's unbelievable, because they make you think about things that you don't even consider. They make you look in areas. I mean, like I was behind a police car, police bike, and he was coming up to a blind corner, and he overtook. Now I'm thinking to myself, why have you done that? And we stopped right after it, and he said to me straight away, you're going to ask me why I overtook there. And he said, I'll tell you why. He said, because I looked underneath the car and was able to see right up the corner. So it's not about what you can see to left, what you can see to right. There's other areas that you can see, because the way the road was, you could see underneath the car and all the way around the corner. It gave him all the information that he needed to make the decision. And this is what a lot of bikers don't understand. There's a lot more information out there than just what's in front of you. I mean, trees don't move. So if a tree line goes to the left-hand side, you know you're coming up to a left-hand corner. And telegraph poles and street lighting. So there's a lot of information out there that a lot of bikers don't understand and don't appreciate.
That's like the other thing, obviously going into corners, a lot of people target fixate what's ahead of them. They're not looking off into the distance, into the corner. And we always say, if you can see, if the corner starts disappearing, you know it's getting tighter. If you can see more of that corner, you know that road is starting to straighten out. So follow through and push through. The other thing we do, obviously, with the guys on YouTube, DDFM, Dan the Fireman, where he sits and analyzes bike crashes all day. And we always say junctions, side of a vehicle, watching for the side of a vehicle. If you can see the side of a vehicle, you'll know, do you know if that is going to pull out in you? Is he going to sit there? You should be covering the brakes, making sure that that vehicle doesn't move coming up to a junction. So be aware of all those cars on the junction side of a car.
Yeah, can I just say for that one, for like if you're on a main highway and there's a car sitting to your left hand side waiting to come out, my instructor, who was police trained, always said never ever look at the driver's eyes, because he could be looking straight at you and still pull out of the junction. He always said look at the front wheel. If you see the wheel start to move, you know they're moving forward and they're coming out, and then react. So there's drivers out there that can look straight in your eyes and you think that they've seen you, they haven't.
Definitely, yeah, definitely agree on that one. So, Moto Dell 2020, I applied for a learner's permit. I had to take a theory test and I did CBT modules. Think for sure it was beneficial. Yeah, anything sort of theory, you know, even sitting in a classroom, watching videos and going through it with proper bike riders is all beneficial. Anything you learn is beneficial, whether it's chatting to a biker about how they ride, loads of things. You can pick up loads of tips, but the best experience is to talk to other bikers. So that is my bit on that one. How we go? We've got, I think, 5 minutes to go, and then I am going to start to wind up. So, thoughts for the weekend, Zedd? What are you up to?
I'm going out. I'm going out on my bike, mate. Then I'm going to test out the camera that I sent up the road at 80 mile an hour. 70 mile an hour. I've done a few repairs, so I want to make sure that my audio is fine. So I've still got the two cameras. I've still got the Hero 9. I've still got the DJI Osmo Action. So you'll get to see my pretty face. Not that you probably want to.
Brilliant. Ali, Hayden, any plans for riding this weekend? Although we've got torrential rain, they reckon. So what are you guys up to?
Yeah, Ali had to step out for a second. Yeah, I had planned actually for the first time ever for me and Ali to go out on the bikes and go overnight somewhere, because it's her birthday on Monday. But the weather's put an end to that one. So I think the bikes are parked up for the weekend. Hopefully by Monday, Tuesday, we can get out again. But yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, hopefully get a group ride in. If you guys happen to be about and the weather's good, Oakley Bike Club is on just outside of Bedford every Thursday.
Okay.
They opened it up this Thursday, the first Thursday that they've been open since lockdown. So that's nearly a year and a half now.
Right. Okay. That's a Thursday, yeah?
That's a Thursday night. Starts at 7. They had 382 bikers there last night.
She's back.
So it's
380 bikers. Wow.
380 bikes over 4 acres of land. So yeah, there was a lot of bikes there. I think they parked everybody on both football pitches. So evening, Howie.
Yeah.
So Howie's here. He said, "I'm taking shelter and staying in the dry." I don't blame you, Howie. Good to see you in the room. Obviously, we're back at the garage this weekend. We've got a very, very busy Saturday. Sunday plans, I'm going to probably spend them with the missus, which will be my first Sunday that I've been at home in about 5 weeks. So she's not going to get her bacon roll, but she gets to see me. So that's a good one for her.
It paid off, eh?
It definitely paid off. So yeah, but obviously if the weather's good and nice, she'll be getting the GTR out again next weekend, and probably have a run up to Oakley. just another quick one. If you happen to live near the Leighton Buzzard area, all you guys from Decorum, if you happen to be in the room, or anybody watching this on the replay, Hemel Hempstead Bikers or in that vicinity, Decorum Motorcycle Riders on Facebook. They have a bike meet as well at the Swan in Norfolk, which is just outside Leighton Buzzard, every Wednesday. Simon GTR normally goes down there, so I might take a trip down on the GTR. That's if he's got past his 6-day isolation. He works for the post office and got to work and got told to go home because 5 of the post office guys had got the bug, and he had to go home and self-isolate. So
is that the flu? Is it the flu?
That is the flu that begins with C.
The Chinese flu.
The Chinese flu, yeah. So he's quite happy, sat at home, doing whatever he does, probably cleaning his bike by now. But hopefully get a catch up with Simon. So that's a Wednesday night. Thursday night, Oakley Bike Club, Bedfordshire. Don't forget, all the guys that are on the YouTube. So Stu, Zedd, he's in the channel listings as well. Go check his channel out. All the bikers that I do follow are all in the description of every video. They're all in the live stream probably, but you can find them in all my YouTube videos. Some really good American bikers, some really good ones. And obviously, if you are on Facebook, go and check out the Basic Bikers. Really good Scottish bike channel, really nice group rides for all those people up in Scotland. And you've got to check out Lockwood's bike, because that bike is just the sound of those pipes is the.
We've got a camping weekend next weekend that the Basic Bikers are all going on. We're going down to Maidens, and then we're possibly heading down into the Lake District. So we'll need our passports for getting.
Oh, you come and kick the Brits' arses, yeah.
I'll tell you, there'll be plenty of drink that weekend.
Excellent. So thank you very much for joining us, guys. Thanks very much, Stu. Much appreciated. Ali and Hayden, good to see you again. I only saw Hayden about, I think it was about 12 hours ago when he came and picked his bike. So we put a new chain and sprocket on his bike, and he's got some extra wheel nuts on there as well. So, Carl, Carl's just come into the room. So if you haven't checked out Carl Dutz, very, very good friend. Hi guys, sorry I'm unable to get on at work. Have to go again, I'm afraid. Love the videos you're putting out at the moment, all of you. Thanks very much, Carl. Just a quick one for you, Carl, if you're here. If you haven't checked out Carl Dutz Rides Outs, Carl doesn't talk a lot, but he's done quite a few sort of just nice casual rides through the countryside with just some nice backing music, and he does some really good stuff. I sat watching one with a glass of wine last night. The missus went, "Oh, this is quite," and it's the first time my missus has actually watched a ride on a bike.
Very romantic, isn't it?
Yeah. So, Carl, very well done on that last video, because my missus actually sat and watched your whole ride. So that was really, really good. But thanks everybody for joining us. It's coming up for 10 o'clock. I'm going to head off to bed because I'm back at the garage at 6 in the morning. More bike rides. Whatever you're doing this weekend, guys, be well. If you are riding, ride safe. Zedd, thank you very much. Ali and Hayden, thanks for joining us. And from RB, as always, be well, ride safe, and it's a big goodbye from me.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Cheers.